Hi friends, welcome to another video that talks about a topic that most of people doesn't want to hear because they thought that it's inappropriate to discuss this kind of topic. By the way, this is the last part of the series of videos that I am posting, and in fact I have created two videos already, and this will be the last part that talks about the end of times. So in my previous two videos, in my first video I talk about Revelations 3 chapter 3 verse 3, and then in my second video I talk about the prophecy of time. But let me have a recap of but before I do a recap, let me just say that this video might take so long, and I hope you will be patient enough to watch the video till the end. And okay, in the first video I talk about Revelation chapter 3 verse 3, but most of people doesn't like to quote that one, but because they think and they reason that nobody knows really the time of Jesus' return. So yeah, it's true. Actually, it was stated on Mateo chapter 24 verse 36 that Jesus said to his disciples that nobody knows the exact time, the hour of his return, even the angels of heaven, even the Son of Man, or the Jesus himself, but only the Father. But take note, my friends, that he was talking to his disciples before he died. So meaning, he was physically present during that time in this world. So he said, only the Father knows everything about his coming or his return. But after he died, he appeared to Peter. That's why Peter wrote this revelation. And maybe he already met the Father, so he knew, and therefore said to Peter about the Revelation 3:3, that if you are not awake, then you will not know, or if you are awake, then you will know. So what are those things? What he is trying to imply about being prepared, and what are those signs? And in my second video, I talk about the prophecy of time, wherein Hosea talks about the third coming of Jesus Christ, where it will happen on the third day. And in fact, it did, because during that time, he rose, he rose from the dead after 3 days. So in the prophecy of time, Hosea and the scriptures of Psalms and Peter talks about the equivalence of time period. So 1 millennium is equal to 1 day in the eyes of God, and 1 day also, or 1 day in the eyes of God is equal to 1,000 years here in earth, here on earth. So the next part of the video, this is the last part of the video that I'm going to make. I'll be talking about the signs, as what I promised before. I will be focusing on the signs of Jesus' return. Now, I'll be reading the whole text from Mateo 24, chapter 1 to 14. And so, bear with me. When Jesus was asked by his disciple, Lord, tell us the signs of your next coming. He answered by saying, see to it that no one misleads you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will mislead many. You will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not frightened, for those things must take place. But that is not yet the end. For nation will rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom. And in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. But all these things are merely the beginning of birth pains. So, in other words, these are some of the signs Jesus foretold before of his second coming. But take note that the wars that he was mentioning during that time already happened. So after he died, there were series of wars happens across the globe, no? And in fact, there were so many wars. Not only the World War One, World War Two. There were many wars before that, and Jesus said, "This will happen before His return." And see to it that you will not be frightened, because this will happen. Now he said also that there will be rumors of war, and take note, my friends, that today we hear rumors of war between any nation, no, against nation. Let's take one example between Iran and America. There was a rumor that there will be a war that will take place, but it did not happen as of yet. Now, Jesus said, don't be frightened, because this will happen. And he said also that there will be a kingdom, or kingdom against kingdom. Now, what's the difference between kingdom and nations? Now, kingdoms pertaining to a country that uses a king or a queen as their leader. And one best example is the Middle East. Now take note that Middle East has also having a misunderstanding, and in fact Qatar was blocked by so many Middle Eastern countries, and that's one example. Kingdom against kingdom. And he mentioned also that there will be a famine. And take note, in Africa, my friends, as of this time, and also Yemen, so many signs that happening now, and famines is one of those, because as you can see in the news, people are dying because of hunger, and people doesn't talk about it because people are not affected. But here comes the COVID-19. Everyone is talking because even the rich people is involved. But if hunger is the topic, nobody talks about it. Why? Because only the poor is affected, and that's the sad reality. And earthquakes. Now, earthquakes is happening every time, but the unusual series of earthquakes that happens every now and then is somewhat alarming, no? And in fact, as of this recording, I think 6.4 magnitude of earthquakes happened in China just recently, and as of this recording, it happens, no? And before that, it happens also in some other places. I think 7.4 series of earthquakes. And we can't deny the fact also that in Philippines, a few months ago, there were series of earthquakes happens also, series of volcanic eruptions that take place also. And Australia was fall victims also of the fire, and it was stated in the Bible also that 1/3 of the earth will be burned. And take note also what happens to the fire happens in I forget the place, but it occurs, it happens. So, but Jesus said, don't be frightened, don't worry, because it will happen. But this is not yet the end, he said. This is not yet the end. Because in verse 9, he said, then they will deliver you to tribulation. And this is the part here. And will kill you. And you will be hated by all nations because of my name. At the time, many will fall away and will betray one another. And this is the sad part. Many false prophets will arise and will mislead many, because lawlessness is increased and people's love will grow cold. But the one who endures to end, he will be saved. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. But let me talk two signs also from Daniel. Before I discuss this one, let me talk about the signs also from Daniel 12:4, chapter 12:4, states here, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Now, some people would say that the idea of the statement, many will run to and fro, is that many will travel a long distance every now and then. So we can't deny the fact also that before COVID-19, prior to this occurrence of COVID-19, people are roaming the world. How many flights in a day, in a minute? So many flights happens every day. And in fact, we as OFW is one of the best examples, no, of traveling the world. He said also, knowledge shall be increased. And can you imagine the children nowadays compared to the 65 years old grandparent? Compare their knowledge. Most kids nowadays are beyond comparable, because just give them tablet and they're more capable compared to a 65 years old. And not only that, increase in knowledge means you can just surf on the Google and then you will find everything there. So as what the scripture was saying, it happens nowadays. Knowledge shall increase. We are more abundant knowledge nowadays compared before. Just one click and you will find everything there. So let me go back to Matthew 24, 9 down to 14. He said again that many will kill Christians, meaning many will kill people who believe in Christ, and it happens. And it happens already, it happened already, and it's still happening, and it will happen again in the near future. And then you will be hated by all nations. This time is already in tribulation period. We have first signs that Jesus foretold, that I have mentioned already, and this is the second part, the tribulation. People will kill the believers of Christ, and then the nations will be hated. The people will be hated by all nations, because this is the nations is we're actually a foreigner of this world, because this is not our place. We are supposed to not stay here in this place, because we are not from here. We are only a foreigner of this land. We are only a foreigner of the world. We deserve something else which is beyond this world, is heaven. So we are only foreigner in this land. So many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And it happens now in America. What happens in America? And not only that, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, it happens, but it's not. It's one of examples only, but it's not really that thing, and it happens. And said also that many false prophets will arise, and it happens even from the past that they claim that they are Jesus Christ, and now continues to happen. Some people claim that they are prophet, and the love will grow cold, and this is the worst part. But he has one promising note here. He said, "But the one who endures to the end will be saved," and that's the best part. The one that endures to the end will inherit the kingdom of God. In verse 14 of chapter 24 of Matthew, this is the last indication, this is the last sign that Jesus was telling to his disciple. He said, "The gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations." And then what? And then the end will come. So take note, my friends, is Christianity is spreading now. But there might be one or a few countries nowadays that Christianity was not yet introduced. Maybe because of the kind of government that they have. And I don't know, one best example is North Korea. I don't know if Christianity was already penetrated there, because we don't know in the past. No, maybe some Christians attempted to spread the Christianity but failed, and I don't know. But since the end is not yet happening, maybe there are still countries or country that was not being introduced by, I mean, there are still countries that Christianity was not yet introduced, because the end of time is not yet arrived. But because of the technology that we have, and because of the kind of world that we have, it's not impossible. It's not impossible that this Christianity, our belief, will be introduced to the entire countries of the whole world. Now, my friends, this video is not really to frighten you. It's not really to make you afraid of everything. But this is an avenue for us to reflect on, to make us more excited of the coming of Christ, because it is something that we are more excited, because as what I've said, we are just a foreigner of this land. We are not a permanent to this land. So I hope that you will not be tempted by the work of Satan, especially in terms of technology advancement, and most of the people are no longer praying because they are tempted by so many entertainment that we have now in the present. So Satan works on that also, so that we will be we will divert our attention to the worldly things rather than the earthly things. So my friends, take note that God is waiting for us. God is patiently waiting for us. And He said again that if we are awake, so we will know. So since we know these signs, so meaning to say that we are awake. Meaning to say, we are listening to His words, and that means to say, we know that His coming is very, 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 very soon because of these signs. We are awake and we are studying. May the grace of God be upon us all, and thank you for watching, and God bless.